Hi guys, Kim here, design team member with Swirlydoos Kit Club. What I've got for you today is our project tech kit, and I'm going to go through it, show you how to use it and some different ways to use it. What we got in the kit, first of all, were a package of the new vintage IOD molds from Prima. So you've got the full package of the molds in here. Open those up. And these are the molds that you can make. And we also got the Ice Resin Kit. Little glare there, sorry about that. And in the Ice Resin Kit, those are just my lids you hear moving around. What you got are 2 4-ounce bottles. One is A, the resin, and 2 is B, the hardener. This needs to be mixed. They come with regular lids, and then you get the little nozzles on them. I've already put my nozzles on. You also get a package of cups for mixing. You get some stirrers to mix. And you also get your directions. And we also got some ice resin tint in Ancient Root. And this is to tint your ice resin. This is the clear ice resin. So once it dries, all your stuff will be clear. Now, first of all, what I'm going to go through is how to use the ice resin. And on your cup, you'll notice that it's got markings on the side. And what you need to do or make sure is that you use equal parts of your resin, of your A and your B resin. And you have to mix that. You need to mix it really well as well, too, for it to activate and to harden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mix. And the way I like to do it is I'm going to take my part A, and I am going to do 3/4 resin part A, and then another 3/4 of part B. And so I'm just going to fill my cup. And you want to make sure you're doing this on a level surface. All right. So I'm good here at 3/4 for my part A, and now I'm going to add part B, which is my hardener, for another 3/4. Okay, now that's done, and I'm just going to take my little stir, and as you can see, it's hard to see here, but one sits on top of the other, and now it's time for you to mix it. And your directions tell you to mix this for 2 minutes, and make sure that you scrape the bottom of the cup. And as you start to mix, you'll notice that it starts to get a little cloudy, and you'll get some bubbles forming, some air bubbles. That's actually normal. And that's why they want you to mix this for about 2 minutes. And you want to scrape the bottoms and the sides to make sure that you mix it well. I like to stir it one direction, and then I'll go back and stir in the opposite direction. And what you'll see are some swirls in here as you're mixing this. And it'll start to clear up. It's still a little cloudy, but as it starts to clear up, that's how you know that you're got everything all mixed up. So take your time in mixing this, because this doesn't start to harden right away. It takes about 45 minutes before it starts to set, but you want to make sure that it's all mixed up well. And now it's starting to clear, but I can still see some swirls. So I'm going to continue mixing. Bubbles in here, that's going to be fine. Because as long as you continue the mix, the bubbles will eventually go away. All right, now once you have this completely mixed, this would be the time, I think mine is done. But once you have this mixed, this would be the time now where you would add in any colorants like your tint or any crystals or anything like that. I'm just going to use this as clear for right now. And so again, I want to make sure that this is all mixed up. So again, take your time mixing this, because again, it won't start to harden right away. There used to be one out that as soon as you started mixing it, it would start to harden. This one, you've got plenty of time. Okay, so now I want to start filling my molds. And I like to do mine sideways. I just get a better view of it. That's just me. And we're going to zoom this in a little bit more for you. All right, and so I just like to start pouring, and I'm going to pour from the deepest end, and I'm going to go down to the narrow end. And remember, if you don't fill it up, you can always go back and top it off, because again, it does not start to set, so you won't have anything where it looks like it's been layered. And I like to take the mixing spoon and smooth it out, because this is kind of thick, and so helping smooth it out will make sure that you fill in all the little areas. And then that way you'll see if you need to pour more. And again, don't worry about the bubbles, because you'll still see some. See, I may need a little bit more. All right, now that's good. Now I'm moving on to the next one. A little bit left, so I'm going to go through and make sure that everyone is even and that all my little spots are filled in. Now this takes a while to set, so you probably want to do this either beforehand, or what I like to do is when I'm just about done scrapping for the evening, I'll pull out my molds and I'll fill my molds and I'll let them sit on my desk overnight. And so I'll have like a nice little stash. Actually, I do have a nice little stash of pre-made molds now. Make sure that everybody's full here. All right, now that they're all full, you just want to sit that to the side. Like I said, let that cure. It's going to take about 24 to 48 hours. This is what they look like. How cool are these? And so now that you've got them, what do you do with them? I've got a couple of other different ones that I made from one of the other different molds as well. So now let's decorate these. There are a couple of different things we're going to use. We're going to use some mist. We are going to use some artisan powder. And we're just going to use some plain old inks. Now, with the mist, when I used the mist, all I did was spray it Now, this is just as it is. I didn't treat it with anything. I just gave it some mist. And set it aside to dry. Now, you can try to use your heat tool on this just a little bit, because remember, this is resin, so if you heat it, it may melt some. So we're just going to set that to the side for right now and let it dry. Next up, I've got this one, and what I did do is I did treat this one. I used some clear gesso on it first, and what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the artisan powder, and I'm using umber, and I'm just going to take my brush and some powder, and I'm going to start to brush it on. Our piece colored with the artisan powder. Now remember, I put clear gesso on this one first, and so now we've got it covered with some artisan powder. But how about taking a little bit of ink and just running it along some of those high points on the ridges. Got a little contrasting color on there. You can see the black soot. Now it looks like a little vintage piece. Alright, how about we just take one and just do some straight inking on it. I'm going to switch over to, this is Gathered Twigs. It's one of my favorite browns to use for vintage stuff. So let's take this piece here. Now this piece has nothing on it at all. There's no gesso or anything on it. And we're just going to ink it. And there you have it inked. Now, like I said, if you want, we can try hitting these with the heat tool. Alright, you don't want to do that too long, because what happens is, as you can see, my piece got soft and flexible. Once it cools off, it'll harden up again. But just be careful if you decide to use the heat tool with it. Now let's go back to our piece that we missed it. This is where we're at right now. So our mist has run down and into the cracks, and it's still not dry yet. So this is going to take a little bit longer. We can try and heat tool this a little bit. And so basically what you get when you use the mist is you get your mist and it runs down into the little crevices. And you can always do another layer. And again, we're going to set that aside. And we're going to let that cool off because it got a little soft from the heat tool. But now that this one has cooled off, well, it's still a little soft. It still isn't completely cooled off yet. But it's starting to firm back up again. So let's take another piece and we're going to try something a little different here. We're going to take some white gesso and we're going to go over it. The brush here. Let that dry for a moment. We're going to set it aside. And while we're letting that one dry, we're going to take out another one and we're going to use some paint on it. We're going to use some Art Alchemy paint, and we're going to go with one of my favorite colors, the light patina. And let's see, let's grab another color to go with that. What should we use? Let's use one of the Opal Magics to go with that. Let's go with some Aqua Rose. That sounds good, right? So let's see what these do with some paints. So we're going to start off with the patina. Another brush here. Get a bigger brush. And we're just going to paint. And again, this one has nothing on it. We'll set that aside to dry. And we'll go back to our other piece that we use the white gesso on. And we're going to use a different color of, no, that's the black. We don't want the black. We want a lighter color. Let's go with the clay color of the Memory Hardware artisan powder. So before we use the umber, now we're going to use the clay. So this is a little bit of a lighter color, and we'll see how this works with the white gesso. Piece that we painted with a light coat of white gesso, and now we've used the artisan powder on it. This is how it looks with the white gesso, and this is how it looks with the clear gesso. Actually, there's really no difference. The only difference is that one artisan powder is lighter than the other, but they both take the artisan powder really well. So that came out really nice. And now if you wanted to, you could always just brush over it with another color, again, to bring out those details. Well, we take a little black and just kind of brush over. Not sure if you can see that. So I am really liking how the resins take the artisan powder. This is going to be lots of fun, especially since we got those new colors of artisan powder. In a past kit, we got the green. All right, so now our piece is dry. And what I want to do is I want to go back in with some of the artisan powder. I was going to do another layer of paint, but I think I want to go in with the artisan powder on top of that. But before I do, here, so this was just brushed with the artisan powder and the patina. And I could do a darker color. I could go in with the darker color too to try and give it a little more depth. You know, on some spots. And now our misted piece, it's still a little wet, but it does take the mist, and once this dries, this will be great. So there you can see how it looks misted. So these are just some ideas on what you can do with your resin pieces once you've made them, and all the things you can use to color them with, and actually how to make them, how to use the ice resin. So thanks for joining me. This is Kim for Swirlydoos Kit Club. If you've liked what you've seen here and you'd like to join our club, visit our website at www.swirlydoos.com. You can click on the link at top that says join our club. Mention my name, Kim, and you'll get 10% off your first kit and a coupon for 30% off of your purchase in the store. And don't forget, the holidays are right around the corner. We do 3-month subscriptions that you can give to a crafter friend as a great gift. And again, that's www.swirlydoos.com, and click on the top that says join our club. So thanks for stopping by. Bye.